Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. We are back for episode number 89 of the pod here. After some technical difficulties on Stallone's end, as we're usually used to nowadays,
Yep.
we are ready to bring you guys another episode. Fezzy Boy, tell the people what we got coming up.
Oh, we got a good slate of NFL games coming up this weekend. All these games are starting to matter. The playoff picture is not set. Obviously, we have some teams that are in the playoffs already, but divisional leaders and people who are going to win their division are not set yet. We're going to take a look at the college playoffs coming up. Going to do some picks in that. Then we're going to hop over the pond, take a look at the Premier League, and then a little Intercontinental Cup with PSG and Flamengo, and then we will get out of here. But before we get into the episode and what's new with us, we would love it if you guys would please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, rate us there. That would help us out a ton. But without further ado, Sammy boy, what is new with us?
Yeah, not much going on in my neck of the woods, really. Just kind of same old, enjoying the little fire pit I got in the back now. Made several fires over the last week and a half. So
Nice.
enjoying that quite a bit and just like hanging out down there. Other than that, not too much going on. Sounds like you're heading out though for the holidays here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's been kind of mayhem. Had to change some plans for Christmas. I am literally recording this with Sam, going to bed, waking up at 3, getting everything around and hitting the road, 12-hour trip, or actually 10-hour trip to PA. So kind of everything's up in the air. Might hit, since I'm going early, might get to go to one of my brother's basketball games, which would be super dope. So hopefully that works
Nice.
out. But yeah, man, technical difficulties. I think my wife took my laptop charger. So
Sailor.
I know, Taylor. What we doing? What we doing? Nah, but I literally, so if the setup looks weird, that's because I'm on her iPad that she left and I'm using my phone for the dock. But we're rocking with it. We're bringing you guys an episode before Christmas and New Year's comes. We're going to try to fit one in before the end of the new year, or the end of the year before the new year. So we may or may not get that in. So if this is the last one, I hope everybody has a good Christmas and a good New Year's. But without further ado, yeah, see you next year. Or we'll just end the pod. That's it. We're done.
Yep.
Drop off the face.
You'll never hear from us again.
Yeah. But no, hopefully 2026 will be a good year for the podcast, but we have a good episode for you guys. So let's get to it.
Starting off the NFL podcast with actually several games that were really, really good games coming down to the final few snaps. A lot of playoff implications, a lot of divisional matchups and everything. We're going to start out in the AFC with a little Ravens-Bengals. This was kind of slated to be a big-time game. Bengals technically still had a shot to be in it as far as the division goes and everything, even at 4-9 or whatever they came into this game with. But Ravens taking care of business, easily handling the Bengals with the final score of 24-0. And that's going to be a great momentum builder for them going into these last couple games, trying to get in the playoffs here.
Yeah, this is tough. I was hoping the Bengals would pull off a win against the Ravens. That would help Pittsburgh out. Obviously, the Ravens beating the Bengals, Pittsburgh beating Miami just last night, or not last night, Monday night. So that division's up for grabs. Looking at the schedules coming up, it really could come down to that last game, Pittsburgh and Baltimore, last game of the season to see who slips in. That'd be a great game, but I hope we don't keep it that close. I hope the Ravens drop a game unexpectedly coming up in the next 3 weeks. But yeah, you have here some comments from Joe Burrow, dude. These are reminiscent of some Andrew Luck type comments and things going on there, which is kind of crazy. So you can give your 2 cents on that. But was this was added on like the week prior? He was talking about having to love the game still, and then after this game, he kind of doubled down on it, didn't he?
Yeah, for sure. So he was just kind of giving some comments. He's like not really sure. He's had a tough couple of years in his personal life and as well as on the field and everything. And just a lot of, like you said, shades of Andrew Luck and some other guys that were retired early and everything. And I wouldn't really blame him if he not necessarily retired, but wanted to get out of there. The comparisons to Andrew Luck too. He's played 13 fewer games than Andrew Luck did at this point in the career, and he's gotten hit like twice, not twice as much, but like considerably more than Luck
Yeah.
was hit. So he's literally getting the game beaten out of him, unfortunately. So if Luck thought it was too much and he couldn't come back, then you only can imagine what good old Joey B is thinking. But so we had kind of those kind of vibes going on for Joey B after the game. And then I think he said today he kind of doubled down again after the game, like you were alluding to, and
Hmm.
I forget what he said exactly, but he was just kind of like, like you said, just kind of doubling down and saying, just kind of thinking about his future and everything. So big words coming out of Joey B here. Whether or not retirement's on the table, I think he still loves ball enough. He just wants it's just a message, I think, to the franchise, being like, "Hey, I've been here 5 years now, and you can't put the halfway decent offensive line around me. It's
Yeah.
just kind of pathetic." So, and obviously their defense is awful. They've been putting up 30 points all season, and they can't really do anything with that, and they only have losses to show for it. So, and even this game, like they have Chase, they got Joey B
Hmm.
back. They're Chase Brown and company, and they're still 0 points, zero. So, kind of pathetic.
Yeah, super pathetic. And I honestly don't, like you kind of alluded to, I don't think that he'll retire, but I do believe that unless the organization makes like wholesale changes, especially to that offensive line, and really starting to get some players on defense and like making that defense better, I think he's going to be out of there. I mean, one of the teams that some people are speculating need to throw everything in the kitchen sink at him is Pittsburgh, and I would love
Yeah.
nothing more for them to do that. That would be amazing if like we landed Joe Burrow, dude. Holy stinking crap! Like the outlook at quarterback in Pittsburgh would look so much better, and we would have our future QB for the next. I don't know how long's he been in the league now. I keep thinking he's been in the league for like 3 years, and it's like 6 years or something like that.
Yeah, I think this
Something
is
crazy.
his sixth year. I want to say, yeah, it's his sixth year. He's 29.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel that old, but,
He does not feel
um,
that old now.
I mean, one of the things that you'd have to consider if you're gonna, go at him is like, you're gonna want to check off a lot of the concerns that he has currently at the Bengals. Like you don't want he's not going to go somewhere that like needs a ton of work on the offensive line, doesn't have weapons, et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to have to
Right.
surround him either with better weapons than you already have, or just kind of make promises that you hope to keep by putting the guys around him. Because I think he's just going to want to go to a place that has a defensive or an offensive line that'll be able to protect him a lot better than the Bengals have. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Super quickly, so we can move on to the next point. But like, where do you see that being? Like, I still think the Steelers would be an upgrade at offensive line, especially at defense. Even though our defense has not been great this year, everything's an upgrade if you go to Pittsburgh. So like, who else needs a quarterback that has a decent offensive line? You could
Yeah,
put Joe Burrow behind.
yeah. I mean the teams that are usually kind of floated around there for Joe Burrow is like the usual teams that usually like are trying to get a quarterback, like the Jets and like the
Mm,
Falcons, Raiders, whatever. But like I said before, I think he would go somewhere that would have like a somewhat defense, or why do I keep saying defense instead of decent? Somewhat decent offensive line. And I do think that the Steelers would
yeah,
be
yeah.
would be up there. Another place that I was thinking about is the Vikings, if they decide they want to
Oh
like
yeah.
go in a different direction from JJ
That'd be so
McCarthy.
scary.
So wild. So
Him and
um
KOC. Goodness.
I know that would be filthy.
That's
And then one other place that I
nah.
thought of just like as a possibility is like if the Rams, like let's say hypothetically they win the Super Bowl this year with Stafford, Stafford decides
True.
to hang it up and then he goes to the Rams. That would
True.
be
Wow.
cinema if you put him with
Ah,
McVay and company. So imagine him throwing the ball to Puka, bro.
oh my. That's so scary,
Uh,
man. That's scary to think about. Like Vikings, or I mean, especially the Rams. They're
yeah,
already a powerhouse. They're good every year. And pairing him with McVay, it'd be
yeah.
lights out, bro. Done.
Yeah. I do
Dunzo.
I do think that with the Vikings too, like everyone thought they were kind of a quarterback away last year, And I think obviously JJ
Mm,
McCarthy has not been great at all, but I think that they've also shown that they have some issues in some other spots too. So, if I was Burrow,
yeah.
I'd be looking pretty hard at either the Rams or maybe even the Steelers if the Steelers can figure out their defense, because you don't want to go to another team that has huge defensive problems. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you really got to figure out the quarterback and coach combo to really be a good team. And kind of switching gears. Speaking of a team that has that figured out, the Chiefs. But unfortunately, I don't think we've talked about this since
We
it
have
happened.
not.
Mahomes
No,
going
big
down.
news.
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
news.
big news. Mahomes going down with an ACL tear. He will be out. Obviously, their season's done and dusted after this loss to the Chargers. We'll kind of kick it right into the questions that you had. Like, where do you see the Chiefs needing to kind of? Is it a rebuild? Is it a tear down? Is it kind of like get a few pieces and you're right there? It kind of all hinges on Patrick Mahomes being back start of season next season.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Obviously Mahomes going down is huge, and the timing isn't great either. Like he's doing it really late in the year. Whereas it's a lot different if he does it week 2, 3, 4, where he has the whole season to recover and then plus the
Exactly.
off season and all that. So not great timing for him there, unfortunately. And to do it on like the last drive of the game too is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think this is needed for the Chiefs. I think this will give them extra time to kind of reevaluate, because they're always playing until like late January every year. The fact that their season's already over will give them extra time to reevaluate the team. And I think it needs to be not a complete teardown, but you got to retool it heavily. I think like um, a lot of the things that were the problems last year were kind of like just kind of, I don't know, just I guess people didn't really look at it that hard because they were winning games, but every game was like by one possession. So you kind of
Right,
overlook the
right.
the problems that are there. So I think it's the reality has finally set in that there's a lot of players there that probably shouldn't be there. Mahomes was doing so much. Like everyone
Oh
wants to
my
like
word,
tear
yeah.
down Mahomes this season for the record and everything, and it's a bad record. But like he was trying to compensate so much. Like he was like their leading rusher. Their receivers were dropping balls left and right. So I just wonder how much of him hurting that is just a result of him trying to do too much. But I definitely think the Chiefs need to kind of tear it down. Whether or not Kelsey comes back, that'll be a big question. Um, I don't know if he wants to go out like that. That's definitely not how you want to go out if you're thinking about retirement. But yeah, lot of changes coming in KC, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I don't see it as a total rebuild either. I think it's just more the organization has to be smart on what they go get in the draft. Like some are
They
saying
need a
that they
running
could
back so bad.
that yeah, that's where I was gonna go. Like, do you take Jeremiah Love? They're kind of saying that he'll kind of fall to them,
Yeah,
kind of in that range in the draft. Do you take him, solidify that running back position, or do you take it more, not really defensive, but like, do you add a defensive piece like Downs from Ohio State,
yeah,
someone like that, like, and then because I think their offensive line was beat up this this year. So
yeah,
that like they have good pieces on the offensive line. I don't
yeah.
think you really
At
need
full
to.
strength, their line is fine, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I don't think that's what you need to go get in the draft. So like, yeah,
Hmm.
maybe the biggest flaw they had this season, and you kind of alluded to it. Mahomes was their leading rusher. Like you can't have just because your quarterback can run, you don't want him to. And like
Yeah,
we saw, he was just taking hit after hit after hit, wearing down, wearing down. This is even something people were saying in like week 3. They're like, this is not sustainable for Mahomes. But obviously, the running game did not pick up. He had to keep using his legs, and it came back to bite them in a big way. Obviously, losing him for the rest of the season here at
yeah.
the end. So
Yeah, and it's insane to me, like the amount of drops that his receivers had. Like Rasheed Rice dropping it
yeah,
left and
man.
right. Like Kelsey, obviously, the last couple games has been not as reliable as usual, and just the amount of drops was insane to me. And just like like you were saying, he can't just keep scrambling around every single play because nobody's open. So, I do think that he's probably going to come back earlier than a lot of people were saying, just because
Yeah.
the like, I don't know if you ever watched that show, The Quarterback or whatever, but the different kinds of,
Mm.
like, exercises he does and, like, the baseball stuff that he does is, like, all of his
Mm.
it already helps him a ton with all of his, like, movements and his crazy throws that he has. So the fact that he
Gotcha.
already got surgery, like, a day after it happened and the way that he's going to
Hmm.
rehab and try to come back, I would assume that he's going to be back for week 1 or maybe like 2 or 3 in there would be my guess. But and with like the
Hmm.
sports medicine nowadays, like how it is. So,
Yeah, it's
but
definitely super advanced now. People come from back from like, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was back super fast. He's 40 years old from an
yeah.
Achilles injury. Like back in the day, that would end a career.
Yeah, no, exactly. And some of these injuries now that are like super ugly, you see them coming back. I'm like, how on earth? But
Yeah,
one
doesn't
last
make
question
sense.
here. What do you got to say about the folks saying the dynasty is over here?
It's not over. Kind of like what we were talking about. I think we talked about it a
Yeah,
couple
last
weeks ago.
week. Yep.
But as long as you have the quarterback and the coach figured out, which
Yeah.
they do, and it's kind of like obviously Mahomes is in his prime. You alluded to it. He'll come back stronger after this ACL.
Hmm.
He'll be just as good as he was, or maybe with a chip on his shoulder, be even better. But it all depends on how long Andy Reid coaches, and I think he's just too much of a football sicko. He's definitely got
I
like 3
agree.
or 4 more years left in him. So
At
they got
least.
that figured out. As long as their receivers continue to, I guess you can't even say continue, as long as their receivers start to develop more, and I, like you said, wild card with Travis Kelce, offensive line gets better. They can find a running back. They'll be right back in the mix next season. I have no doubt. They'll be the favorite to win that the AFC for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's absolute insanity to me that like people are ready to call this dynasty dead when we consider dynasties like okay, like you win
Yeah.
2, maybe 3, like you have
Right.
relative success, like that's like kind of the standard for dynasty. And this team's been to 5 Super Bowls in 6 seasons and they have one bad year and they're like, "Oh, it's dead." Like just they're done, whatever. I do think like you were saying, I think the team will look quite a bit different. They'll retool in quite a few spots. I think their receivers, like Xavier Worthy, has not developed like he should have. Rashee Rice has looked spotty towards the end of the season year. I do think that he has good potential. Kelsey, I think
Hmm.
he's still an above average tight end. Like he's not the
Yeah.
Kelsey of 2 or 3 years ago, but he's still definitely a piece that can contribute. So I'd like to see him come back. Just 'cause I think it's sad that it would end this way if he were to retire. But they got to figure out a lot of things. They got to figure out an offensive coordinator. Like Matt Nagy is not the answer. Like offense looks stale, so they got to figure something out. But like you said, I think they'll definitely be back. And if we're gonna consider like for example, everyone wants to compare with the Pats dynasty of it being 20
Mm.
years with a 10-year gap in the middle. I think we'll give the
Right.
Chiefs a little bit of grace on this one season here. So
I mean, they could honestly rip off a Super Bowl next season. Like, to be completely honest,
yeah,
like that's
right.
just they're just set up for success, man. No matter what happens, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
as long as you got the face of the league, you got a shot, in my opinion. So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, solid stuff. Moving on. Speaking of the Pats, they had a big game this past week
Yes,
against
sir.
the reigning MVP in my boy not my boy, but I just really like Josh Allen.
Dude,
Uh,
facts. Same.
um,
Absolutely same.
the Buffalo Bills. Early in the first half, Pats were flying high, 3 touchdowns,
Not
quick
good.
succession, 21-0. I think at halftime it was 24-7, I want to say.
Mm.
So Pats kind of think that they were coasting at that point. I know Dave Portnoy came out like at halftime with that video. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bills come storming back though, and get a just all their points basically in the second half to come away with the dub 35-31 with Josh Allen looking like the MVP. Some of the throws he had on that,
Oh my word.
so good, bro. So huge win for the Bills uh, to stay alive in the division.
Yeah, huge game. Peter was obviously here, our Patriots friend.
Yeah,
So
give us a little insight into that. What was happening over there?
I mean, the dude was riding so high in the first half, and then
I
like
bet, bro.
his demeanor totally changed, like all of Pat's Nation probably did in the second half. I mean, the Bills. I mean, it's not typical to see McDermott outcoach somebody else, especially the likes
Yeah.
of Rabel. But that second half, dude, they walked the Patriots down the field, and I don't know what they said to the defense. I don't know what scheme they switched to or whatever. I'm not a big football savant guy, but
Mm-hmm.
the defense figured it out. And when Josh Allen puts the Superman cape on, dude, you
Right.
can't stop him. Like when
Yeah.
he is firing on all cylinders, and like what's the meme going around now? Like when you hit flow state or whatever, he was in flow
Yeah,
state, dude. He was doing whatever he
absolutely.
wanted to them, and he was feeling himself. And so yeah, keeping that division alive because I'm kind of saying not so fast, Pats. You know, we're still here. We're
I
still pretty good,
mean,
and we got Josh Allen. So
yeah.
looking like the MVP even this season.
Yeah. Yeah, not gonna lie, in the first half I was pretty down on Buffalo, but like I still kind of kept an eye on that game just because he's done it so many times just this year alone. Like that crazy comeback with the
Yeah.
Ravens, what they did
Mm-hmm.
with the Bengals, even though I was a little bit more the defensive side of things. So they're definitely a team to watch, for sure. And like, I mean, I feel like there's this whole thing coming like going around about me being a Pats hater, but like, what do we like? They faced
Yeah.
three games with teams above 500 this year, Steelers and Buffalo twice, and we know what's happened with the Buffalo series, and they lost to you guys. So like, I don't know. And in the Buffalo games, he has not thrown for one touchdown. He's looked a little average against. Buffalo doesn't even have that great of a defense, but he hasn't necessarily shown up in those two games. What say you?
I mean, those rivalry games, dude, those hit different, man. Divisional
Yeah.
rivalry games, like, um, yeah, I mean, as a young quarterback, that's got to be tough to be playing in those games, especially when, you're just taking it to them and not low key, like high key embarrassing the crap out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to come out firing. So the
That run
Bills
by
played with
Travion
some
too was
pride.
nice.
That was, dude, that's what I thought was like, obviously that was second half, but like,
Yeah.
the first play of the game, I think it was Stevenson or whatever. He took off for like 10 yards, like right off the bat. I was just like, here we go. The Bills aren't going to be able to stop a nosebleed, and they're just going to run all over us. And they did
Mm-hmm.
in the first half. But obviously they turned it around. So I don't know. Drake May, I'm not ready to call him the MVP yet. I mean, Josh Allen's still saying
Absolutely
like,
not,
hey,
bro.
hey, I'm right here. And people are saying it's more between Stafford and Josh this season, but
Yeah.
I heard
There now.
some I heard some things online. People were saying he's kind of like Josh Allen is like right up there with like, like the Michael Jordan and LeBrons, who where it's like, honestly, you could give them the MVP every season, but obviously that doesn't look good and that doesn't do numbers. So obviously we're going to give it to someone else. But
Yeah.
like, if you realistically look at it, most valuable player every season, I mean, Josh might take this
Yeah.
sorry, sorry defense to the freaking Super Bowl. So like,
Yeah. That's another
I
thing I
don't
wanted to
know.
ask, like, really quickly is just like, I feel bad a little for Josh Allen this year. Obviously, incredible year, and he's still sitting at 10-4. But you finally don't have to deal with, probably not have to deal with Lamar. Hopefully,
Yeah.
if Pittsburgh wins that division, like he's not gonna have to deal with Mahomes, who's beat him 4 out of the last 5 years. He's not
Hmm.
gonna have to deal with Joey Burrow. So like the path is kind of there for him, but he also has the worst team that he's had since
I
he's
know.
like been obviously since Buffalo's been a contender. So you think it's Buffalo's to kind of take over there and get to a Super Bowl, but then at the same time, like you can't trust that defense. It's kind of hit or miss. So gotta feel for him a little bit there, don't you think?
Yeah, I think the AFC is wide open. So like you alluded to, like you feel for him that he has a bad team, but I could see this being, was it 2018, like 2017, 2018 when LeBron took that horrible Cleveland Cavaliers team to the finals. They obviously lost because they ran into Golden State,
Yeah.
which is kind of what I could see happening. Like Josh Allen being Superman all year, drags them to the Super Bowl, but comes up short because on the other side, the NFC, there are some really, really good, well rounded teams over there. Like you look at the Rams, Seahawks, like teams like that like if the Bills play one of them, I think I don't know if they can beat them. I think in the AFC they can
Yeah.
beat anybody, but NFC, man, they got some wagons over there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And they'd still have to go through probably one of like either Texans or Broncos to get there, who they
Yeah.
have otherworldly defenses. So, absolutely wild stuff. But, yeah, Vrabel was 6-0 coming off a bye week in his career, and Buffalo ended that as well this past
Let's
weekend. So,
go.
impressive stuff by the Bills, and we'll see how that kind of shakes out the MVP race and everything, and how much that well, do you think the Patriots like? Do you think they have a big game problem here, or do you think that they're just beating up on sorry teams, and or do you think that they're actually big time this year? Because I've always said this whole year, like I think they're way ahead of schedule. I think they're the best of like these average teams, but maybe not quite elite like a lot of people are trying to crown them.
Yeah, I think
I
this
still
game was
think Drake
really
May is going to
telling.
be incredible in his career. It just
Oh
may be a
yeah.
little early.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think they're punching above their weight right now, especially with the schedule. It makes them look a little better than they are. I'm still in the camp that they're a good team,
Hmm.
but like you said, I don't think they're in elite status like with a Buffalo or a Rams or a Seahawks right now. They're just young, man. I think those big games, like you were saying, it's just a little too much. Like a seasoned veteran team with a 20-point lead would have found a way to hold on to that and win the game. Like if you got that kind of lead going into half, you go in, make adjustments. I think they just went away from running the ball. I feel like they just didn't bleed enough
Yeah.
time off the clock, didn't hold on to possessions, and that's kind of what did them in. And then you got into a situation where a young quarterback has to, I mean, you're at home, but still, like in a big game like that for the division, I think it was just a little too big for Drake May at the moment. But like you said, he's going to be fine. He's going to be a
Yeah.
good quarterback for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. One last thing on Josh Allen as well. He announced this is a little bit beside the point, but he announced that he's gonna be a dad.
Yes,
And that's cool and
sir.
all, but like I love how he did it, bro. Like he's
Uh
obviously
huh.
like he's married to like this super famous actress or whatever, but it literally
Yeah.
looked like they just like walked outside of their house, took a couple
Yeah.
pictures at dawn and posted them,
Yep.
which I was like, I love that.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
just it just seems like a down to earth dude. So love to see it.
Yeah, for sure. Congrats to Daddy Josh.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, moving along. We're gonna have to move on to these a little bit quicker. Packers
Yes, sir.
Broncos. Parsons out for the year with an
Tough.
ACL. Packers are actually like down like 6 guys in this game. I saw that they were
Yeah, it's
like
bad.
they were going down left and right. So
It's bad.
they're going from contender to maybe a first round exit here pretty quickly. Especially with this loss against the Broncos, and the Broncos #1 seed in the AFC right now.
Yeah. Huge loss for the Packers. This was kind of their they could surprise us, but this was kind of their Super Bowl hopes going down the drain after this. Because after they traded for Micah Parsons, everyone was like, "This is a team that could go to the Super Bowl as long as you were getting what you need to get out of Jordan Love," which they have been. But
Mhm.
this definitely sets their defense back, so it's really all on Jordan Love at this point. And I think he's still too accident prone, mistake prone to really get the offense to a level that will kind of hide the deficiencies on the defensive end now. So I think their Super Bowl window will have to wait till next year when Parsons can get back healthy.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. Threw a couple picks in this game, like you were alluding to. Um, Broncos just continue to. I think it's what like their 10th game in a row that's decided by one possession.
Yeah.
So they've really become specialists in that. I do think that their receiving core for the Packers, at least, um,
Hmm.
is they're deep enough. Like we talk all the time about them having like 4 or 5 guys that are like, slightly above average. So just, being able to have several guys like that, I think will help Love. But the defense definitely took a huge hit this past week. Obviously Parsons, even if he's not necessarily getting to quarterback, which he is already,
Hmm.
he garners so much attention that he opens it up for other guys as well. So definitely be interesting to see how that Packers team responds. And they have the Bears coming up again this Saturday night. So we'll see how they're able to kind of rally. I obviously beat them a couple weeks ago, but if they want to have a chance to win the division, that's definitely a must win against the Bears this weekend. So we'll see if they're able to rally and get that dub.
Yep. Moving on. Lions Rams. Stafford's looking as good as ever. Lions need
Yeah.
some help. Do the Lions have to win out? I haven't been keeping up with the Lions playoff picture. They have to win out and get some help. They're like kind of behind the
Yeah.
8 ball, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're sitting at I think it's 8-6 right now, right behind the Packers. So if the Packers
Mm,
the Packers win on Saturday, I'm pretty sure that basically assures them of being in, and
Gotcha.
the Lions would then be out. So they're right on the fringe there. If that's not the case, then they need a lot to happen above them, because all the teams that would be in would have at least 10 wins, and they'd be sitting at 8-7. So I think several teams would have to lose both their last games, and they'd have to win their last two games, which obviously isn't too likely. So
Gotcha.
need a
Gotcha.
lot to happen, that's for sure. They'll be rooting for the Bears on Saturday, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Rams obviously continue to be a wagon, and we'll touch on them in a little bit. Big matchup tomorrow night against the Seahawks. And
Huge.
then this was probably like such a weird game to tune into, but everybody was watching. Colts and Seahawks. Old man Rivers out there. I wouldn't quite say slinging it, but dude, he did just enough and had a chance at the end to win the game. What did you think of Rivers' return to the NFL?
Yeah, I thought he was better than everybody thought he was going to be. I mean, nothing eye popping on the stat sheet or anything like that, but he did throw for a touchdown. Couple times there early where he definitely looked like a 44-year-old man, just kind of
Yeah.
like falling down, crawling around.
Yeah.
It's super funny, but dude, he kept those boys in it. Like, I was
He
rooting
did.
so hard for them to win that game against the Seahawks team that, like, I mean, they're talking Legion of Boom is back, and that offense with Jackson Smith and Jigma, Sam Darnold and everything. Like, that's one of the better teams in the conference, if not the whole NFL. So the fact that they were able to stay neck and neck with them is a good sign. Whether or not
Mhm.
they'll be able to keep that up, they literally have like the toughest schedule of the last 3 games with Niners, Jags, and Texans. So
Yeah.
definitely didn't pick a great time to come back as far as facing those defenses and everything. But I think it gives them a chance. Like, we'll see what they're able to do here on out. But if I were a betting man, I wouldn't bet on them. But it's still cool to
Mm.
see 44-year-old Rivers back there still slinging it. And dude, some of the stuff and the reads and stuff, like, that's just OG Rivers, bro. Like,
Yeah, that doesn't go
some of the
away.
new age, like, new quarterbacks aren't even doing it. Like, I was looking at some of the
No.
breakdown and everything. I was like, he reads the game completely differently than any of the guys currently in the NFL, outside of maybe like a couple of the top ones.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I thought it was super cool. Obviously, watched this one with Pete too. We FaceTime Micah at the end of the game just to kind of watch it with him as
Yeah,
well. But really, like, I mean, they were right there. The defense is what like let them down. I mean, one giant play to get the Seahawks within field goal range, and that was kind of a wrap on it.
yeah,
I mean, I know they had like what was it like 40, I can't even remember, like 40, no, it was like 28 seconds with the ball after the
yeah.
Seahawks kicked that field goal. And so it was like, you're going to ask Philip Rivers to drive you down the field after a week of practice, coming back after 5 years of not playing football.
I
Like,
know.
come on, defense, like
He
do
looked like a
something, help your guy
chunker
out.
out there too, bro.
I know, dude. Big old boy
Um,
out there. I don't know, man. If they can figure some things out, like he's gonna have another week of practice, kind of get in a little bit more shape, throw the ball around with some of the receivers. He's just gonna look.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not looking. He's not gonna be Rivers of old, but he's gonna be definitely better than he was
yeah.
this past week.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, love to see it. Love to see it. I'm sure he was super sore on Monday, though. Goodness.
Got a good old
Um,
ice bath
yeah,
in the facility, I'm sure.
yeah. Moving over to a little bit of a preview here. We'll run pretty quickly through these games.
Let's get it.
Rams Seahawks. How do you see this game after Rams coming off that huge day? Puka Nacua, 180 yards. Just mad numbers there. Mad numbers.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if they have Devontae Adams or not. He went down with that hamstring injury. I
Yeah.
do not trust Sam Darnold against especially the Rams because it's just shown to be his boogeyman. So I'm gonna pick the Rams. I think they're playing the best. Seahawks are still a good team. Will be close, but I do not trust Sam Darnold to get it done. Give me the Rams.
Yeah, I was literally on Seattle the whole time until, like, basically today, and I was like, I think the Rams might squeak it out. Like you're saying, a little bit of a boogeyman there. He threw 4 picks and still only lost by 2 to the Rams, but I think the Rams are going to
Yeah.
play better.
Hmm.
Stafford, I feel like he's back in a groove after that Panthers game. I think
Yeah.
he's seeing
Woke him up.
the field a little bit differently than the rest of the NFL right now. And if I'm
Hmm.
not mistaken, I think they were down Devontae Adams in that first game. So we'll see
Mm.
if he's a factor in this game at all. But looks like that hamstring injury might be a little bit more serious than we had originally thought. But I'll
Yep.
take the Rams as well, and hopefully they get that number 1 seed in the NFC. Get that bye. That would be doing some good for old Devontae Adams.
Yeah, that'd be huge.
Packers Bears Saturday. Who you got?
Oh, give me the Bears. I think the Packers are going to be really I think their defense is really going to be hurt from not having Parsons and that's going to help Caleb Williams out a ton with not having that much of a pass rush coming from the Packers. And I think he's hitting his stride. He's still prone to a really dumb mistake, but did you see that play? Who are they playing? Was it this past week? Who did they
Green
play?
Bay.
Was it Green Bay? Was it Bear?
No, what? Who are you talking about? Green Bay?
Oh, no, Bears, sorry. Was it San Fran? Was it
They're
San
playing
Francisco?
Browns. Bears are playing
Browns.
Browns.
But did you see that rollout to the right? Caleb Williams threw an absolute
Missile.
dude. That's why you get Caleb Williams,
Yeah.
that play alone. But anyways, give me the Bears because I think the Packers defense is going to be kind of hurting from not having Parsons the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think I'll go Bears as well. Not necessarily because I'm a huge believer in the Bears, but I think Packers are way too banged up now. They lost not only guys on the defensive side, but on the offensive side as well. Their best offensive lineman is out. They lost I think there's another tight end that they lost as well. So just beat up all across the board here, unfortunately, for the Packers. Bears are extremely well coached. I believe in Ben Johnson a lot. I like Matt LaFleur as well, but I do think that Ben Johnson is just a better situational coach, so I'll go with Bears. Bears might win that division. That's
crazy,
insane
dude.
to think about.
Crazy.
Good for them, man. Talk about another team that's ahead of schedule. That's Chicago Bears for you. Steelers, Lions. Both teams playing for their lives in this one to get into the playoffs.
They are.
Who you got?
This one's tough. I'm going to go with my boys, the Steelers, though. I feel like we're not that Miami was much of a wagon, but their offense was actually clicking a little bit, and we were able to
put together some good games now.
Absolutely. So I think the Steelers are figuring out a little something on defense, and we're down TJ Watt, which we didn't even touch on. Obviously, we don't have time to, but obviously with that freak dry needling incident. Not totally sure TJ Watt's timetable of returning. Obviously, hopefully get him back soon, especially if we make the playoffs. Going to need him. But I'm going to take my boys. I think we're figuring out some things on the defensive end. Lions, I mean, their offense is still really good. Their defense is all right. It's going to be a tough test, but if we can beat the Lions, even though they're not the Lions of last year, I think we'll be riding some momentum heading into the last two games of the season. Hopefully get into the playoffs with that momentum as well.
Yeah, I don't know. This kind of goes against what I believe deep down, but I'm gonna go Steelers as well.
Let's go.
I think they've got a little bit of mojo going, even though Miami isn't the greatest team. They did beat Baltimore the week before that, so I think Rodgers has found a little bit of a groove here.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest key in this one is obviously stopping Jahmyr Gibbs. If you can get hands on him earlier and not let him gash you for huge plays, I think that'll be the key in this one. And trust me, that's speaking from experience from my Cowboys a couple weeks ago. So, but Lions a whole touchdown favorite in this one. So, a lot of people on the Lions. But moving on, Bucs Panthers. This is a big time divisional game here. Both teams 7-7, looking for a leg up here as far as the division is concerned, and getting into the playoffs. They play each other twice in these last three games.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the Panthers. I think they're just the most informed team. Obviously, the Bucs are getting some guys back from injury, but we all thought they were going to take a step forward because of all the injuries and getting people back. Have not seen that of late. I'm not really sure what's going on with the Bucs. They were one of the best teams in the NFL. First half of the season, kind of falling off. I'm gonna go Panthers.
Yeah, this is kind of a boring pick 'em here, but I'm gonna go Panthers as well.
All right.
Panthers have obviously they rattled off those 3 or 4 straight wins in the middle of the season, kind of been teetering, kind of staggering wins and losses here and there, but I do think that they have more than the Bucs right now. I think the Bucs are once again on the decline, even though they've been getting healthier, which we thought that they needed. They've just not been able to find a groove. They've lost to the Saints and Falcons, who are just terrible this year, really, especially the Saints. So not a great look for the Bucs, and they definitely needed both of those dubs in division. I think we were looking at a couple weeks ago and being like, oh, they'll easily get a 2-game advantage on Carolina there and kind of run it. But Carolina's right there with everything to play for, and like I said, they play each other twice in the last 3 games. So give me the Panthers playing a little bit better. Got a better backfield as well. Pats Ravens Sunday night. Who you got?
Alrighty. I'm gonna take the Pats, and that's not because I want them to. I want the Ravens to lose. I actually think the Pats will win. So this actually bodes really, really well for the Steelers. I think the Patriots have just been the better, more consistent team all season. Not totally sure what's going on with Lamar. He's still kind of like not his usual self, just with the injuries that were lingering all season. I
Yeah.
got the Pats.
Yeah, I got the Pats as well. I think that'll be a really really close game. I think the Ravens are going to give them a good test, but like you said, I don't think Lamar's completely healthy. Riled off a bunch of wins midseason there to catch up, but then a couple bad losses, especially that one to the Bengals, was not a great look. And then beating or losing head to head to you guys. And like you said, that last game against you guys might be a spicy flex to Sunday Night Football to for everybody to watch for the division. That'll be a
Yes, sir.
be a good game. But I do have the Pats as well. I think Drake May and company get back on track here after that loss to the Bills. Last one we'll touch on 49ers and Colts. You think Old Man Rivers can pull something out of the hat, or you think 49ers just keep on rolling here?
I'm going to go 49ers just because I think they're playing well. Colts are just trying to salvage something from this season that had such high hopes. I did allude to Rivers having one more week of practice and playing a little bit better. I think it'll be close, but I think the 49ers will end up pulling it out.
Yeah, I agree. Colts are on a huge skid. Got a little bit of a spark with Rivers coming back, but again, that's a 44-year-old spark. I don't think he's going to be doing much. Lost four in
Yeah.
a row. And Niners have been rolling really well the last several
Yeah.
games. Mac Jones has obviously been there most of the year, but they got Brock Purdy now putting up some big numbers. And it's just wild that division top three are all 10 or 11 wins. So absolutely
Yeah.
loaded division there. So give me the Niners.
Yeah, not that's a good pick for sure. I think the Niners have been under the radar all season, kind of
Yeah.
like you said with Mac Jones, no one really thought that they would do as well as they were with him. He was winning them games, so 49ers are
McCaffrey
right there.
quietly having a great year again.
Yeah, which is surprising. He's usually hurt halfway through the season.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah.
but gonna throw a little bit of a curveball into here instead of cutting here. We'll just move right into the college portion of the podcast just to kind of keep it rolling. Like I said in the intro, I'm waking up super early, so we're just kind of flying through this. So bear with us, guys. But yeah, college football. We got the playoffs coming this weekend, right?
Yeah. Yeah. First game's tomorrow night. Bama OU.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good one. But yeah, we're gonna kind of like just give you guys our playoff picks
Two of
coming
them
up
are pretty
here.
easy, but we'll still give them to you.
Yeah, we'll still give them to you. I mean, uh, what is it? What do they call it? Five.
Group of five.
Group of five. Like
Yeah.
we just got. I mean, oh, another thing I might throw in there, and I don't care if it runs a little later, but like, did you see the absolute and utter idiocy coming out of Joel Klatt talking about the college basketball bracket?
I did not.
Oh my
I don't know
gosh.
anything about this. You're gonna have to fill
Anything
me
about
in.
Okay, I'm just gonna briefly talk about it because I thought it was worth mentioning because it's
Th-
all over college basketball social media
So
right
just to be
now.
clear, this is basketball right now.
Yeah, but it,
Okay.
it crosses over into CFP and
Okay.
college football, which it shouldn't. But anyways, Joel Klatt, one of the analysts that I listen to his podcast every week. That's where I get most of my college football information from because I really like him, not only as an analyst but as a person. This his character might have taken a little bit of a hit after this video, but I think he was on a podcast talking about how to fix the college football playoffs like
Oh
everyone has
boy.
been since Notre Dame got left out.
Oh boy.
Anyways, he proceeded to have one of the wildest, hottest, I guess you could say hot takes. I think it's just a dumb take, but he was literally saying that the college basketball, the March Madness tournament is literally the dumbest format in all of sports ever. And they should not do it the way they do it. And he was basically saying, who wants to see a 16 seed play a 1 seed? Mind you, in college basketball, we do actually have 16 versus 1 seed upsets. So that's the argument against that. But he just proceeded to just kind of, he was basically saying the whole format and how college basketball does it is so dumb and that they don't take into account any of the regular season. And I'm just like, dude, do you even watch the sport? I know you probably don't keep up with it because you're so busy, but like they literally go into like this game is better than that game, like which college football doesn't even go into.
Mhm.
Like, we just look at your record and we're like, okay, you have so many wins. Okay, what were your best wins and losses and whatever. But college basketball actually goes into like quad one, quad two, home and away wins, like all the way down to like the tiniest of statistics to actually seed these teams. And I don't know. He was
So
just
how
kind
does he
of,
want them to do it then?
he wants them to do it like the college, like football playoffs. Like he's like, we want to see the best against the best. I was like, yes, but we
So he,
actually typically get that once we get to like the Elite Eight. So it's
so he
like
wants to like shrink the tournament, like
I
make them
think
like
so.
32 teams or something.
I think that's what he's saying, which
Mm.
I it I understand when people come into and they talk about like soccer, like European soccer, and they bring their like American mindset into that. I can almost understand that because it's like it's a totally different sport in another country and it's appreciated differently. But to see someone like within American culture and sports talk about another American sport like it's the dumbest thing in the world, I'm just like, what are we doing? We just need to stay in our lane and like just talk about college football. Like he did preface it with saying it's a hot take and it's getting a lot of backlash online, but I just needed to mention that because I just thought that was completely wild. And I really like Joel Klatt. That's the other thing. I was like,
Yeah.
I did not expect it to come from him. I could have expected it coming from like a pardon my take, pundit or whatever. But like Joel Klatt, who's usually pretty level headed, just kind of with the take of the century, I guess. But anyways, that was kind of what
Yeah.
happened this week. That was gonna be I kind of the dub and scrub segment. That was gonna be my scrubs, my
There you
scrub
go.
segment. But
Yeah.
obviously we're just flying through it. But
Yeah, I am seeing some articles here about people taking it pretty harshly. It
what's
sounds
your
like he
take
just
on it, real quick?
it sounds like he just doesn't want Cinderellas and he just wants like the elite of the elite like going up against each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I get that in a 12-team playoff. Like, yeah, we
Yeah.
don't want a random JMU and Tulane playing Ole Miss and Oregon. But like in a
I,
64-team tournament, it's like at the very beginning when there's 20 games going on at a time on the
yeah.
first weekend, like, sure, throw in a 16 versus 1 because like, yeah, we've had a 16 versus 1 beat them. It's less
Yeah.
likely in football because it's more of a team
I
sport.
mean, I kind of see where he's coming from with the six. I mean, it's happened what twice in 100 and whatever years. But
True.
yeah, like I think it all just depends. Like if you're gonna have only 12 teams, and the sports are different, so it's kind of a stupid argument anyway. But like the
Exactly.
amount of
Thank
games
you.
that go on is not really comparable. But like for football, like you want the top 12 teams in there. You don't want these because like in football, the disparity is a lot different than in basketball, where like if you have a group of 5 team, they're just gonna get slaughtered, like they are. Whereas like in basketball, like the disparity isn't that big, and like a smaller team from an inferior conference, I think definitely have a chance.
Exactly.
I'm actually not like completely opposed to like shrinking the NCAA tournament slightly, not to 30 teams, but I
Right.
think 60 whatever is huge.
Crazy.
But I
Yeah.
know that's probably not going to be a popular take either. But they keep talking about expanding it to like 68 teams or
Yeah.
like
So many
72
teams.
teams. I'm like,
Oh, no.
bro, what are we doing here?
That's where
And
I start being like, okay, we don't need I don't even know, like the smallest D1 school in the world getting into the tournament. We don't need
yeah,
that. Where we're at now is a good like a 16 seed probably doesn't have a fighting chance, but like every once in a while they make it pretty interesting. So
yeah. And I love that the conference tournament or the conference champions get in automatically.
means
I love
something.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do like I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth here, I guess. But like I do sometimes think it's a little bit brutal to some of those group of 5 teams, if you want to call them that in the basketball, where like you'll have like a team that's 21-4 and they like
Mm,
lose in their conference championship and they're just
yeah.
not even going to be in the tournament. Like that's brutal.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah, that is
I
that is tough.
I just still err on the side of like a little bit fewer teams than 64 or whatever, but it is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all
I'm
anyways.
gonna have
But
to go
back to
back and see Joel Klatt's comments now.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm sure he'll talk about it on his podcast, and I'll listen to that tomorrow. I'm
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
listening to so many podcasts tomorrow; it's gonna be crazy.
for sure.
But turning it back to college football, Bama OU. You said tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. Friday
All
night.
right, who you got in this game, Sammy?
I got OU. I think Bama's on a skid. They haven't been playing good for 4 or 5 weeks here. I do think that even though, they squeaked Alabama in, they did give them a favorable matchup. It's like, where can we put them where they won't get blown out? I
Exactly.
think OU was that perfect spot. I do think that OU will probably beat them, but probably not by like 28 to 7 or whatever Georgia was putting up on them.
Hmm.
Makes it a little bit interesting that they've already beat them this year. I'm kind of a big proponent of like it's super hard to beat a team twice in a season, especially in college.
Yeah,
So we'll see how OU deals with that. Their quarterback Mateer has not played as well as he did at the beginning of the season, but I still think that their offense has enough power, and their defense is really. OU teams historically have not had great defenses, and they rely a lot on their offense, but they still have a great defense they've relied on several times during the season. So I think OU brings it home. I think Alabama goes home, which they should be home already. But I do think Alabama's just
exactly.
gonna continue to struggle here to get anything going, especially on offense.
Yeah, I'll keep this really simple. I got OU as well. Don't think Bama should have been in there. I think we agree on that, and we'll just keep it moving after that. All right, Miami and Texas A&M. Wow.
Yeah, I got A&M in this one by a slight margin. Do think that Texas A&M, despite the fact that they were in the SEC, somehow got off when playing like basically all the worst SEC teams. So I think that their record is a little bit misleading here, but I do think that they have just enough with their quarterback Marcel Reed and company to get one over on the Miami Hurricanes. And I also just think that Carson Beck's kind of a choker when it comes to big games. So I'm relying on that as well. I do think Malachi Tony, though, is dangerous for the Canes.
Yeah, for sure. They do have some dangerous players. I don't believe in Carson Beck as just as much as you don't. Uh, Coming out of the SEC, like if you're gonna err towards a team, you pick the team that plays in the best conference, and Texas A&M plays in the SEC. So give me the Aggies as well over the Hurricanes. All right, kind of a formality at this point, but Ole Miss, Tulane, who you got?
Yeah, I got Ole Miss in this one, obviously, but I am curious to see how they're going to look after Lane Kiffin decides to leave
True, true.
for LSU. If they're obviously, I think they'll win this game, but it'll just be interesting to see how that team responds and how it looks after head coach says goodbye.
Yeah, this was one of the games people are really mad about because they put the group of five, like two group of five teams in.
Yeah.
Tulane already played Old Miss and got boat raced by 30. I'm pretty like
Oh,
30 or 40 points. So
exactly.
this was one of the games people were pointing to and saying we don't want to see this in the playoffs. And obviously they'll probably fix it, but obviously Ole Miss is going to win this game. They did, they did. All right, JMU versus Oregon. Oh, imagine, imagine. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, who's gonna root against the Ducks? Dude, it's gonna be outrageous. But after my comments before we got into this, I would love to see a Cinderella run just to stick it to Joel Klatt. Obviously, it's probably not gonna happen, but that would be hilarious. Well, with how short it is, that kind of it. Like, I would say probably it would have to be two to be like a run, but to see an I would love to see an upset of like this proportion, like Tulane, who got boat raced by Ole Miss, literally comes out and beats them by like a field goal would be hilarious. Um, but yeah, hopefully everybody will enjoy these games coming up this weekend. Got a good slate. Like this is like one of the best times of year. We got like basically playoff games in the NFL. We have actual playoff games in college football during the Christmas break. We have some not very good college basketball, but some college basketball going on. Christmas Day, we got NBA and some NFL this year, so it's just a good time to be a sports fan. Boxing Day, Premier League, dude, it is just a good time to be a sports fan. But with that being said, we will hop over the pond and take a look at the Premier League, and then we will get out of here. So stay tuned for that.
hopping over the pond as we usually do for a little Premier League action, and then we'll get on out of here because Fezzy Boy's got to wake up at 3, which will probably end up being 6, and get out of there.
Yep.
But but we're gonna start out in the Premier League, like I said, with my Gunners squeaking by
Woo!
bottom of the table Wolverhampton Wolves.
Oh,
They've only have 2 points to their name so far in the league,
oh
and we
my
still
word.
find a way to struggle against them. The only way we win is through a 70th minute Sam Johnston own goal, where a cross went off the post and hit the back of a goalie and went in, and then another own goal by Yervin Mosquera in the 94th minute. So
Tough.
absolutely pathetic stuff from my Gunners. I texted you like halfway through. I was like, I don't think we're winning the league, bro. Like, there's too many signs
Oh,
already. You got freaking Man
yeah.
City coming up from the back. You got us, who like have made all these signings this year. It's seemingly insulated from injuries, have more injuries than we know what to deal with at this point. And the guys
Mm-hmm.
that are coming back aren't performing like they're supposed to, which is understandable. But at the same time, it's like, what the heck is going on? So
Yeah.
we're barely, I mean, for a second there, I thought we were going to tie against bottom of the league Wolves. And like, not just bottom of the league, they literally have 2 points. Like, they're on pace to have the worst point total in the history of the Premier League.
Oh my
So
word.
not a great team by any stretch of the imagination over there, and we're
Yeah,
still
no.
just scraping by, and we need 2 own goals. Like, what are we doing? So,
Yeah.
Man City's coming up behind, like I said,
Uh-huh.
coming in hot. So I'm down in the dumps right now. I just we're hanging on by a thread. I'll put it that way. Got Aston Villa on our heels too. Like,
Yeah.
who even knows? So
Yeah. Aston Villa playing super well, kind of turned
yeah,
their season
that
around
won't
up in
last, but
second.
still,
Yeah, some people say it might. Some people say it might.
maybe.
I'm obviously not one of them because I don't. I mean, they'll find a way to fall out. They'll be in like the conference league or something like that. But yeah, man, not looking too good. Like you don't want to see an Arsenal team win because of two own goals. I'm still a little. I still have faith. I think this is the biggest thing is if you guys take this and you're like, okay, let's figure some crap out because we can't be doing this every week. And maybe
Yeah,
this is the moment in the season where you guys are like, we're not going to let go of this. But at the same time, like you said, it could be the season in the moment where, we kind of hit that point in the season where Man City just decides that they're not going to lose. And you guys start just drawing the crap out of like a bunch of games that you shouldn't be drawing the crap out of. And it's like,
yeah.
it's just not a good look, but
And some of it is just like this constant tinkering that I'm always talking about with Arteta. Like,
mm,
he can't figure out if he wants to play Timber on the right or on the left, or like as like a center back that's kind of like moving around a lot. Eze, who's like our incredible like cam slash like left winger slash striker, he's got him playing like basically like a CDM against like with Zubamendi in the middle, like slightly forward. That's not his
mhm.
position. When like I'd much rather you have like just start like, just put the guys where they're going to be most, where they're used to be being played, and just rock with that. Like, Jokic got the start in this one, but he didn't look like himself, so he ended up playing Miko Marino at striker, which we've been having to do a lot recently. Trossard came on late, but he wasn't as good as he usually is. Odegaard, he's been coming off the bench for like 5 weeks now. Like, when is he actually going to be on full health? So yeah, just super super frustrating stuff. And like I said, just those other teams nipping at your heels, all getting dubs. You guys, Man City and Liverpool. I think Liverpool are going to have a better second half of the year. I don't see them staying in mid-table all year either.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Slot's not married to some of the players that he's brought
Yeah,
in, and some of the players
which is
that he like
weird, but yeah,
yeah. Yeah, some of the players that he really wanted, he's not married to, like Verts, who has not panned out at all for Liverpool. It could be like some
no,
positional things, not understanding things, but like taking that jump from the Bundesliga to the Premier League, like that's hard.
yeah,
Edetique, is it Edetike? Is that how you say it? Edetique.
Ekitike, yeah,
Yeah, Edetike. He's playing better than who's the player that Isak. Like
yeah,
he's starting over Isak. So like I feel like he's finally like gotten away from the players that he was like really looking at and really coveted over the offseason. And he's like,
hmm
these are the players that are playing the best. This is the squad that I can win with, and I have to do that instead of like oh, we bought this guy for so much money and we really wanted this guy for so much money and really we finally got him. Like he's
Yeah.
not married to certain players. And I think that's starting to really show. One of the things that got to figure itself out a little bit is there's some drama with him and Salah going on right now.
Yeah,
Uh he's gone he went to the AFCON Cup though after
he
this
did.
last win. So
Yeah, I've never really been a huge fan of Salah, but he's kind of being a diva as far as I'm concerned here. Like he's been in and out of the squad all year, but it's really just because he doesn't really fit into this squad as well, and he's also kind of becoming a little bit washed in his old age. He can
mm,
still contribute, but I've said even since last year, like all of his goals and his contributions are coming against like mid to lower level sides, and in those big games he just wasn't performing well. So when the coach makes the hard decision and sits him for bigger games because he's not contributing, he wants to whine and complain and tell him like how much he feels betrayed, and that the club isn't using him. I'm like, you probably should have gone to Saudi in the off season when you had the chance. So,
uh-huh.
so I don't feel too bad for him, but I don't know. Maybe he goes over to Egypt and destroys AFCON, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean he's still a decent player, so
Yeah,
he's going to be serviceable for Liverpool, but I feel like kind
he
of
just
the
has to
writings up.
embrace his role now of coming off the bench more often than not,
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah. Yeah, writings on the wall. He'll definitely be out after this season if he only I thought he signed an extension. I felt like it was for 2 years, but obviously contracts are contracts. They can be ripped up, rewritten, people get out of them all the
Saudi
time.
comes in
So
with that $40 million offer. I mean, he's going. So
yeah, he's going. Liverpool will take that. He'll
yeah,
take that and they'll move on. They got plenty of players to take his spot.
yeah. What
Anyways.
What do you got to say about Man U kind of hanging around those European spots? I know they destroyed Wolves, which we already talked about how bad they are. And then
Mhm.
a crazy 4-4 draw with Bournemouth this past week on
Yeah,
Monday, I think.
Bournemouth's one of those like frisky teams like mid-table. They were floating around the top of the table for a while. Still obviously really good. Obviously we kind of keep an eye on them because they got at least I do. They have Tyler Adams, one of the US M&T boys. But yeah, they stuck to the process, stuck with their manager, which we were both hoping that they would. And obviously it's worked out. He's really like kind of solidified the tactics that he wants to use with the players that he has. Give him another offseason, give him some more time. Obviously, he's showing that he can turn things around. He can get the team playing the way that he wants, which is winning football. And so, yeah, I mean,
Yep.
props to them. Not a Man U fan at all, but
Right.
uh it's one of those teams where like how people say like in college basketball like when Michigan State's good like it's better for the
Exactly.
sport. Man
Exactly.
U like when Man U's good it's better for the Premier League. They're just one of those teams that you want to
Right.
see good whether you root for them or not. Obviously you root for the Premier League just being healthy with them being good.
Exactly. And it's good for those rivalries too. And I think it's impressive what Amorim has done, like especially after that Grimsby defeat. Like there was a lot of articles that were coming about the team quitting on him and all that stuff, which may or may not be true. But if that was the case, like
Mhm.
I mean, for you to turn that around, like once you hear that a team's quit on a coach, he's usually gone within a couple weeks. And if that actually was the case where people were trying to kind of push him out of the club, and for him to survive that and now have them kind of challenging for those European spots, it is really impressive. And if he does something with this, it'll be even more impressive, obviously. So they have good players over there. I think they should be challenging for at least the Europa spots, but we'll see if they're able to put some more wins together here against some of the bigger teams in the competition. We'll round out this segment with a little Intercontinental Cup. I always kind of believed that this was more the legitimate quote unquote Club World Cup
Mm.
than the current one we have. It was called the Club World Cup before they decided to take the Club World Cup and make it a huge money grab.
Mhm.
But we have basically the Champions League winners of each continent coming together and playing a little bit of a tournament here. PSG and Flamengo. Flamengo putting together a very solid campaign over in Brazil,
Yeah.
winning the league and their version of the Champions League.
Mhm.
Really, really impressive run in the money grab Club World Cup earlier this summer. But they really gave PSG all they could handle, going 1-1 in regular time. PSG playing with basically a full strength squad here. And they were able to, like I said, tie. Jorginho got a penalty in the second half. That was after a Kvaratskhelia goal in the first half. A nice in-swinger from Desiree Doué and him finishing it off. Going to penalties, and their third string keeper for PSG bringing it home for them.
Wow.
4 straight saves in the penalty shootout for Matvey
Whoa.
Safonov. Big old
Crazy.
Russian. So him
Nice.
absolutely taking his moment there and coming up huge. PSG missing 2 penalties as well, but Flamengo just couldn't put it in 4 out of the 5
Dang.
times they took it. So
Uh yeah,
Vitinha
that's
named
tough.
man of the match, by the way.
Dude, so good. So good. I love this version of PSG. I can actually tolerate and stand them.
Me
Like
too,
back in
bro.
the day,
I agree.
like back in the day when they were just not even like back in the day, literally like 2 years ago when they were literally just paying money for all this talent, they finally started like allocating their money towards like up and coming talent that like Luis Enrique wanted and like had an idea and system for instead of just
Yeah,
like, oh,
exactly.
you're Messi, you're Neymar, you're Mbappe, you're Cavani, like we're just gonna buy you. Like
Yeah.
it's just like not me dropping Cavani's name with like the likes of Mbappe, Neymar,
Hey
but
man, I think he's underrated.
he is underrated. He's super underrated. But is this a FIFA competition or like did FIFA
It
like
is.
create a world? Okay,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
they just like created a money grab and called it like the FIFA World Cup, but they still do this one.
Yeah, so that's the weird part. Like this tournament here has been going on since like early 2000s, and it was like
Mm,
smaller, but like if you won this, you were considered like the world champions of like club football. So that's
mm-hmm.
why it was so weird when they decided to like steal the name and make it a bigger tournament of the Club World Cup, but still also have this tournament as well. Because they, again, this is in Saudi as well. So, like, they
Mm,
probably were just like, oh, this still makes enough money.
right.
So that's why I was like still so against the Club World Cup, besides all of the problems that we had with it in the off season and all the extra games and everything. Is like, this was fine the way it is. Like, we don't need that as well. So, it's just weird, but I still give a lot of legitimacy to this rather than the Club
Mm,
World Cup because like this is the actual like Champions League winners. Like granted, the other continents, like the team from Europe almost always wins it, but again, you
mm-hmm.
have a good game here with the South American club as well. So
Gotcha. Yeah, not the freaking supporter shield from the MLS getting in and being able to
yeah,
play at it.
exactly.
Like,
You don't have wild cards and invitees and all this stuff. Like
so is
there's
it
a
all
lot from
just
it.
the Champions League from the different like footballing associations?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So there's only 5 teams total that go.
Okay.
So it's like the champions of each continent. Like this year, and usually the team from Europe will get a bye until the semis because like it doesn't make sense for them to play like every game. But like yeah,
Yeah.
this year there were 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 6 teams. So like it doesn't make sense for PSG to play like Auckland City and destroy them.
Yeah,
So like
exactly.
they get a bye until the semifinals, and whoever comes out of there will play PSG in the semifinals and the final as well. So
Yeah. That's
uh,
cool. I really like that. Like, yeah, just bring up all the Champions League winners from each like different cuz like does the cuz we technically have a champion CONCACAF Champions League or whatever.
hmm
Does that winner get in as well? Who won it this past? It's usually a
yeah,
Liga MX team.
yeah. Cruz Azul won the 2025 Champions Cup, so
There we go.
they were in there.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's a little weird because like I'm looking up the Club World Cup right now. But
Mhm.
like their quote unquote history is now continued by like the new Club World Cup. So that's kind of weird. So like this is the Intercontinental Cup is technically a new thing, but it's
Mhm.
just because the Club World Cup stole like their name basically. So like beforehand, like it was almost always the European team, like I said, that won it. Like
Mhm.
Chelsea won it in 2021. Bayern,
Mm.
Real Madrid several times in a row. And again, this is kind
Yeah.
of more of like a 1 or 2 game thing for the European champions because like they would get buys because they were by far the best
Yeah.
team. But every now and then you'd have a team that would like 2012 when you guys won. You guys lost to Corinthians 1-0 in the final of
I
that
remember
one.
that.
So um,
Yeah.
yeah, you got some fun stuff every now and then. But I think it's a
Yeah.
nice
Yeah.
little tournament. But of course, it had to be destroyed
Yeah.
by American money. But it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. Friggin' American money. And like I said, like, we're just putting teams that we want in it for like no good reason. Like at least this one, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you're the Champions League winner on your continent. Heck yeah, you're getting in.
And
Like, sure.
I also think it's so fraudulent because then it gives like I know you're a Chelsea fan, Anthony, but then like you have a conference league winner who hasn't won the Premier League or the Champions League in 5 years, and they
Right.
win the Club World Cup. And the Club World Cup is once every 4 years, so they get to call themselves the Club World Cup champions for the next 4 years, even though they've won jack squat. Like
Yeah.
what? That's just
Yeah.
dumb to me, but whatever.
And probably won't even be in the next one because we were out of the Champions League for like 2 years leading up to the Club World Cup. Like we literally
Yeah.
won it, didn't make the Champions League for like 2 seasons, finally got in this season. And it's just like,
Well, that's another
yeah,
stupid thing about the qualification stuff for the Club World Cup is like they take the last 4 or 5 winners from the Champions League of the last 4 years. I'm like, that team could be in relegation zone, or I don't know,
I
not
know,
quite, but like
I know, right?
it's just so messed up. But
Oh, it's ridiculous. But good for Flamengo. Like,
yeah, solid team,
little, I want to say little team. Like, dude, the Brazilian league
dude.
is crazy. The talent in the Brazilian league, so tough.
Yeah, and
So tough.
they're the biggest team in South America probably, or like
Yeah.
biggest team in Brazil at least, and they always have like some of those like OG players that you like remember. Like they have that guy Saul from Atletico. Jorginho's there. He played for Arsenal last year. Emerson Royale, I think he was on Chelsea for a little bit. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Some names. Love to see
yeah.
it. Love to see it. But yeah, that's a pod, Sammy.
And that is a pod. Pretty quick,
We
not bad.
that wasn't bad. No, we said keep it around an hour, a little over an
Little
hour,
over.
but honestly, not bad. We would have been done if my freaking laptop didn't die. But anyways, that's a story for
Thanks,
another
Taylor.
time. Yeah, thank you, Taylor. We appreciate it.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. We love you. We love you. But anyways, yeah, that's gonna do it. And we appreciate you guys for tuning in this week. Like we said, we will try to fit one in before the end of the year. If that doesn't happen, we hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful end of the year. And I hope that the start of the new year brings you happiness and blessings. And I hope you guys all hit your goals. I know we're going to kind of set up some goals for the new year as well with the pod. And hopefully you guys can help us hit that. But we will catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.